First of all, you must know that for public housing in Singapore, the Housing and Development Board is the key sole developer. So we have been introducing a lot of green features in most of our new buildings. But we understand that the existing buildings also, we need to see how we can green up to introduce more saving in energy, conservation in water, and of course making the community stronger through better bonding spaces. So because of that, we introduced a Green Print Fund. And this Green Print Fund supports ideas that comes from the community to see how we can actually make our spaces a little bit more pleasing and also can help to bring the community better together. So this place, we call it the Green Parklet. This is one of the ideas that came from the community where they actually want to improve the space in our, what we call as a void deck. Because most of HDB buildings, the ground floor is empty so that it allows for flexibility of usage. So they wanted to convert this space into something greener and a little bit more friendly for the community to come together. So this is how the project come about.
This is the first time in Yuhua for this parklet. Okay, so that's why we want more residents come here, and maybe we can get some discuss, or maybe can meet more friends in this area.
Basically, the person who suggested this is actually just one of the residents and this sort of thing, and he's not an architect or an engineer. So what we did was that we brought in architects and engineers from the HDB, and together with them, we actually work with the residents. We hold a few workshops with them to find out what exactly do they want from the space. Not just the green space, but also things like what's the lighting, what is the fan, so as it can be cooling at times of when it's hot. And after that, the architects and engineers put up a plan, and together with the community, that is the residents, to come together and then set up a space like this.
It's better than you after market go home and nothing to do for that. At least you can join for the event.
In a way, you can call this a community living room. In the sense that if you invite guests, you probably have to bring them to your home. Yeah. But sometimes if there's a lot of people, it might not be very convenient. So having a space like that is like a living room for you where if you're living nearby, you just come in down here and everybody see each other and then they start chit-chatting, and that's what I guess you were trying to say. Well, there was another project that we did, also part of the Green Print Fund, where we fund people to test it out. But this time now it comes from a university, SUTD. They actually suggested that can we have actually what they call as adaptive spaces. So what that means is that they place furniture like chairs and tables. They are actually movable. Once they are movable, you actually allow residents to move it to the way that they want to use the space. And even the lighting levels, they went to the extent of allowing the residents to change lighting levels. So it's quite an interesting project. We thought that all the time what we have is the architects decide how the chairs are going to be, the tables are going to be, and people have to use it. But this time around, make it to allow the resident actually move it around and do it. You want to go there to do your studies for the younger ones, they can actually arrange it, set the lighting a bit brighter. Or do you want it actually like a dining room where families and neighbors come together, bring food and eat. So they can actually arrange the chair differently. So that's the whole purpose, and we call that the Smart Void Deck. Why I call it Smart Void Deck is that they can actually adjust the lighting, change the configuration of the chairs. An interesting thing is that the university people who did this study, they put sensors on the lighting levels and also on the furniture itself. And the way that it was moved, the number of people, the interaction, all this will actually taken in, and they study the data so that they find out which is the configuration that people mostly use, so that it informs the architect in future on saying that what's the best way to design a space. So it's quite an interesting project, and this is another thing that we're doing at Yuhua.
So
to every writer or just a certain
Oh no,
research
this one is it's just a study first because it's funded by our Green Print Fund. Once this is successful and we can have learning points, then we'll see how to introduce to every block. It's a study at the moment. Well, I've mentioned that we call this a void deck, which means that the first story it is usually very empty. It does serve a purpose. One of the purpose is that it allows flexible use of people holding things like weddings. Sometimes people hold weddings here, and also funeral wakes and things like that do happen here. So sometimes there is conflicting use on saying that if you're going to use up this space, will there still be enough space to hold such activities and events at such void deck spaces? So these were challenges, and we will have to talk to the residents, the grassroots, and also the town councils, so that everybody understand that why the need to carve up area so that we can make this space more conducive for such use. Another challenge that we found was that the material use, because this is going to be in a very exposed area, so fire safety and how the materials can easily be damaged were all key considerations that we have to think about. Then of course, like I said, it's going to be green, you're going to have plants, we need people to take care of them. And these plants, they are shaded, so we need to choose the right plant species that can actually thrive well in such shaded condition. And because the maintenance is also lesser, it will allow residents don't have to have too much, have to be a gardener in order to take care of it. Just simple watering and the plants will thrive and have some regenerative properties. Now, having such a space is just the first step. We need people to take care of it. We need people to make sure that people don't damage the place, don't vandalize it, or there are plants here that they are well taken care of. So the residents down here are very nice. They took ownership of it. They took turns to keep the place like what you see now, nice and comfortable to be in. So that's how the residents came.
Okay, this will be the helper for take care of the outlet. Okay, and sometimes we want to decorate more better, so we try to get more volunteer. It's under the resident also. Those is a resident will be helping her. Yeah.
We wanted their help to take care of it, to have more ownership of it. We actually conducted courses, very simple courses on like, how to trim, how to water them, when to do it. And all these things were made simple so that the residents down here can appreciate. What I think is important is that then they begin to personalize the space.
Yeah.
So the community identifies with it, and that is what we want, because we don't want to be the one putting all these artworks and they feel that this is just something aesthetic. But if you put paintings like this, they begin to relate to it. So I thought this is something very useful and healthy that's happening in the community.
Yes. Cut down and paint it, no?
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's painted by the residents, right?
Yes, by us.
Very good.
We will join.
Well, I didn't know you're an artist also.